What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another dope episode, 77 Flavors of Chicago.
Today is a very special one, but before we get to it, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share this video.
Yep.
But today, we are at the Garfield Park Conservatory, which is one of our favorite places to spend time in the winter when it's freezing. And Chicago's actually snowing outside right
Any
now.
time of year, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because this place is cool.
It is. It's so cool. And I feel like however many times we've come here, every time there's like a new plant.
Yep.
But yeah, we're talking about something very specific for February.
Yeah. Crazy tie here. Not really crazy, but like something that you probably haven't even thought of. So, Black History Month, there's a lot of things and seeds and, culture that was brought from Africa to Chicago and the United States due to the transatlantic slave trade. We'll get to that in a second. But first, give you an overview of the conservatory. This conservatory, the Garfield Park Conservatory, was started in 1906 and was finished in 1908. It had two main key people that you probably heard us talk about in any Garfield Park episode. But Jens Jensen, who was known as the best landscape architect that Chicago had ever seen, actually the country.
Right.
And then William LeBaron Jenny, who was kind of like the facilitator of it all. Those two had a weird relationship. Go back and check out those stories and see what we're talking about. But it was started here in way back in the day. And it was built as, 1906. This was right around the time where the city in the garden concept, right after that was like a big thing, late 1800s. Right. Chicago wanted to be the city in the garden. And so this was the largest building, the largest art under glass in the world. And at the time, this was the largest conservatory in the world. It still is to this day one of the largest in the United States. So when you come here, there's like
thousands of plants.
I mean, you can't even name them. I mean, it's just ridiculous here.
Because like some things just grow because like seeds jump, and you know what I mean. Like you don't even know how many plants there are, and like they've intentionally obviously planted some, but like who even knows how many there are left?
Exactly. I'm looking at my favorite plant right now. It's the bamboo, the painted bamboo. Love that. But let's get into the meat and potatoes. How we're going to tie this in. So now you know about the conservatory, but let's talk about something that is related to Black History Month: ethnobotany. All right, so right now we are here in the edible type of room here, and the reason why we are in here is I want to talk to you about ethnobotany and how it relates to Black History Month. So, first terminology: ethnobotany is the relationship between plants and people, right? Particularly indigenous people and plants. So, homeland, right? But for this specifically, we're talking about Africa. So let's think of, let me give you an example of ethnobotany. Aloe, right? We know aloe helps heal wounds, skin, things like that, right? That's medicinal type of thing. But then we got stuff like coffee, which a coffee seed is indigenous to certain places. Colombia, America. Colombia has known for coffee bean, right? Obviously that's food, that's edible. So there's two different ways you can look at that type of thing. Like I said, we're gonna talk about like Africa's ethnobotany, and we're standing in front of a coffee plant right now. And to give you some context, before the transatlantic slave trade, Africans used plants and seeds and everything for source of life, like literally life, like most countries do. But in Africa, especially when you're right around that equator, it gets really hot, and so you need different things to help you heal, your skin literally be able to take the heat, all kinds of stuff. So when the slave trade happened, they were just taking people to do their bidding, farming and things like that. They didn't understand what these plants and things did over here. And so when you were just uprooting people, what the natives did, what the Africans did, is they were planting seeds, taking seeds, hiding them in braids, hiding them in clothes. I even read, and there's some signs here that you can actually find around here throughout the whole garden. It's really cool. But I read that they would wear them as decoration because, the captors weren't paying attention to what they were doing
Right.
and what things were. So they said, hey, look, we'll just make it part of decoration,
Right.
and
Oh,
they'll
that's
never
so
know.
cool.
So that's how those different plants and things came to America. Now, how does that relate to what we're talking about today and why we're here? So in the Great Migration, you probably know before the Great Migration, right around 1912 to 16, a lot of those captured African Americans came to the East Coast. They came, settled down south, and that's how a lot of people, slaves back in the day, kind of like still survived, because they would say, hey, look, the food here is not good. Things in order for you to stay healthy, we have these seeds here. They would plant those seeds, and that's how America got some of the things
Right.
that we know today.
Wasn't native to
It
this.
wasn't native to here, but they use it to stay alive, and to have food.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you a little context. But then the Great Migration happened, and here we are, Chicago in particular, we got a whole bunch of black folks here, and that pretty much made our culture. Not even joking. We went from 3% population of blacks to 30%, 33% black population here in Chicago. So at that time, so obviously that was our whole culture. Everything about Chicago when it comes to black culture and other culture, really, because
Right.
we added a lot of flavor. So that gives you some context as to what we're talking about here. Now, there are some really cool plants that you need
Yeah.
to see, and that's what we're gonna take a look at. So let's get to it. All right, all we did was shift a little bit, but right now we are standing in front of a coffee bean plant.
A little baby one.
Yeah, little baby one. Ethiopia, Kenya, Sudan is where this is from. And I'm gonna point out.
Say sit down.
Yeah, Sudan. Right. Sudan. So I'm gonna point out 3 plants. This is one of them that are indigenous to Africa that was literally brought over here.
Right.
They
They have a lot
yeah.
in here, but
I mean, a
take
lot.
yourself on a little adventure and try to find as many as you can.
Yeah, that's what I
There's
want y'all to
some
do.
cool ones.
Yeah, so there's this plant right here, which is really cool. Yeah, you can see it in the. There we go. This right here is a coffee bean plant, and I don't know. Y'all probably know. Most people should know that it's one of the most traded commodities in all of the world.
Yeah.
So pretty cool that you can find that right here. You probably just walk by this and you're like, wow, it's a coffee
Right.
plant.
It
Cool.
looks like part of the
Yeah,
shrubbery. That's
but I want you to think about the ethnobotany now. That's the word of the day. Ethnobotany. It just rolls off the tongue.
It does. It sounds good.
Ethnobotany. All right. So
All right, we just did a little
we just
360,
did a little
180.
whoop-de-whoop.
This is another one. It's called the miraculous berry. It's called the miraculous berry because it produces this thing called miraculin. There's something an enzyme that it produces that changes your taste buds to make you taste sour as sweet in its pulp, which is really
Good on
cool.
protein too.
Well,
So,
yeah,
and
and I feel like I've seen it in stores where they're like, try this like miracle berry. It's called a miracle berry. Some
Yeah.
people like commonly call it a miracle berry.
Yeah.
And that's what that is.
yeah, boom, right there. Let's go find some more plants. Let's go.
Let's get it.
All right, so right now we are here in the desert room of the conservatory, and standing in front of the bottle tree. And if you've probably seen this, if you've been here, you've probably seen.
Hard to miss.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the biggest tree here in this room, at least. But what the bottle tree is known for is from Madagascar, and it's really interesting. So this tree is now being used in rainforests to kind of help cycle the water through still. That's thing one. The second thing is the bark of this tree sometimes is used for medicinal purposes. So kind of like what I was talking about earlier, these plants, when they were in Africa, this is what they would use to kind of heal and take care of themselves. So boom, that's thing two. Thing three is that sometimes this tastes like arugula and horseradish.
Wow.
So double purpose for
So
this.
a little spicy, a little bitter.
Yeah. So you can
It's my
see.
favorite flavor.
Boom, right here. There's one more thing in this room. Actually, this room is
There's
really
a ton
Latin.
of- Yeah, a ton of like the South American, Central American.
Yeah.
There's also a ton of like Madagascar stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like looking in front of us.
Yeah, a lot of
Little-
stuff.
The little panda plant.
Yeah, a fowl's foot.
Yeah.
Uh,
Look at the
Aloe. There's the
kudu.
aloe.
Yeah.
And just yeah. So boom, a lot of stuff. But there's another thing I want to show you. Let's go. All right, real quick. We are here in like the walkway between the desert room and the outdoor space, which reason why we're doing this is twofold. There's this dope mural that's in here that wasn't here before.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. It really is colorful. You know, we've got some access before this place on the day that they're not open. So they just finished this as of this recording yesterday. But the kind of the point of it is A, show the beauty of it, right? But to let you know that you can actually walk through here because the space before didn't look like you could be here. So you can walk through outside. Every time we come here, we're like, are we supposed to be back here? So you can come here, check this out too. Also really dope. Let's continue. All right, so the last tour stop on this tour of plants that you can see is a bunch of plants, but the last one is the spinal ginger. I keep forgetting it. And the really cool thing about this one is that it was an anti-inflammatory medicinal use plant. So it would help skin ailments, coughs, fevers, things like that. And this was definitely indigenous to Africa. So I'd imagine this was one that came over to, hey, look, we need something that's going to keep us safe. We don't know where we're going. Let's take this for sure.
Because slaves were given small little plots of land that they could grow stuff on. And so they would grow these seeds that they brought with them.
Yes.
And their captors had no idea what these are.
Yeah.
So they didn't give a shit.
Right. And so that's how, you know, our ancestors were able to survive and these harsh new elements. So really cool thing about this is that this is part of an ongoing exhibit that the Conservatory has going on. There's signs like this. I don't know if you can see. We'll put it on the screen, but there's signs around here that kind of details everything we've already talked about, and you can find them.
Yeah. No, it's a great way to learn more about it. You can find them throughout the different rooms. If you want to learn more about ethnobotany, black ethnobotany to be more specific, and kind of the contributions that the enslaved people kind of brought to Chicago, but also to the United States as a whole.
Yeah.
It's a really cool, fun exhibit. It's part of the regular.
Yeah.
But there's just new signage.
Yeah. I feel like we got to put that focus on it because a lot of you come here to, it's so much you can be overwhelmed. At least this kind of focuses your point. There's two other signs too that you can find here as well. But also taking the fact that there's also a new exhibit that's about to start, the springtime.
Spring flowers.
Yeah, spring flower flow was about to start. That starts actually, I think, tomorrow? Something like that? Yeah, as of this recording tomorrow. So, but that's all we got for today.
Yeah, so if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, let them know to come out here to the Conservatory. Remember, it's free.
Yeah, and thank you to Garfield Park Conservatory
for letting us up.
Let us up on this.
We're both failing.
It's early in the morning, man. It's early in the morning. Anyway, we'll see y'all next time.